Good afternoon, everyone. So my name's Dean Quartermaine, and I'm here today to introduce my new podcast. So this idea, I've had it for a while. Almost lacked the confidence to get out there and record some content. So I was down at Accountex, which is, for those that don't know, a large accounting conference held in London annually. I was down there yesterday and, was networking with a number of people, some great people across the industry. And one thing that struck me is there's a serious lack of podcasts in the industry that are targeted towards students. So as an AAT lecturer here in Sheffield, at Sheffield College, I think that, there's a place in the market here for a podcast that's targeted towards the needs of accounting students. So that's where I come in. I'm, as you can probably see, no expert at this at all. I went to some sessions yesterday that were, panel discussions by people who are far better at this than me. I have lots to say, lots of content to put out there, but almost no real idea of how to do that. So this is me going on a journey, going way outside my comfort zone. Yes, I'm a teacher of AAT. Yes, I'm very comfortable in the classroom, in front of my in front of my students. But this is the big world wide web. So yeah, I'm massively out of my comfort zone. So all I really want to say is, obviously, like I say, I was down at Accountex yesterday. Accountex is for anyone who's never been, anyone in this industry that's never been, is something I fully recommend. Yesterday was my first Accountex, and it definitely will not be my last. Met some absolutely incredible people, some very inspirational people, some people that I really think are massive trendsetters in this industry. So I don't want to shout out too many people, but one person that really strikes me as being, probably the most, if not, well, certainly one of, if not the most inspirational person in this industry right now. And someone that, a vast majority of my students aspire to be, is Rachel Harris. So those that don't know, Rachel set up her own accountancy practice about 4 years ago, built that from nothing to what can only be described as a hugely successful accounting practice. It's a £1 million business. Rachel, is, like I say, probably for me one of the most inspirational people in this industry. And I was very, very happy I'm very privileged to have the chance to meet Rachel face to face yesterday. Where we had, a good conversation about, the wider accountancy world and what's going off in the wider world. And like I say, I think Rachel's built something that a lot of my students aspire to be able to do. And I think Rachel's content that she shares out on many social channels almost makes people believe that they can do it. And I think that's a hugely important thing, is that we break down those barriers and we break down this industry and we make people truly believe that they can achieve in this industry. Because let's face it, it's hard, it's difficult, but it's people like Rachel, Grace Hardy, there's another great example. Grace is a trailblazer of the transformational benefits of apprenticeships. Grace, for those who don't know, I mean, how could you not know? But obviously, Grace owns and runs Hardy Accounting alongside a number of other business ventures. The Unconventional podcast for one, and it's people like this that inspire me to teach the art of accounting, and give these skills, to people of all ages. I teach as many young people as I teach people that are my age, and I'm by no means am I young, but I think we are slowly but surely, we are transforming lives. The qualifications that I teach, from AAT, that's exactly what we do. We transform lives. I've got, like I say, I've got lots to say, lots to talk about, lots of, and I, really want to engage with the student community, and talk about the things that, the pinch points and the pains that there are, along the journey to hopefully becoming, qualified accountants and or qualified bookkeepers. Bookkeepers are just as important. I went to a talk down at Accountex yesterday by Natasha Edward. Anyone who doesn't know Natasha, she's hugely passionate about the world of bookkeeping and the impacts that bookkeepers can have on small businesses. And one thing that struck me really with, whilst sitting in the audience listening to Natasha speak is, well, firstly that passion for what she does, that came through, in some serious volume. She really is hugely passionate about what she does, but she also, there's some other things that she touched on. That the fact that she runs her practice, her bookkeeping practice, Bewitched Bookkeeping, she runs that as a sole trader, and that's never going to change. She truly believes, as do I, to some degree at least, that there is significant benefit in scaling her business through software, and making sure that she has the right tech stack in that business, and the right tech stack not just for her, but the right tech stack for her clients that allows her business to scale and be truly 24/7. And as Natasha was saying, she got software that's matching off transactions while she's asleep. Rather than the old-fashioned way of doing it, of paying someone to sit there and go and get that purchase or that purchase order, match it to that delivery note, match it to that invoice, match it to that statement, and all that paper. Let's just use the tools we've got available to us. The tools that we've got available allow these things to happen whilst we're sat at Accountex or sat on the beach. So yeah, and I met lots of other great people down at Accountex. Michael Steed, the president of AAT. Someone that I find to be a hugely inspirational leader of AAT. I was down at the Leicestershire branch of AAT, and that's a big shout out to the Leicestershire branch, by the way, for inviting me down there. So Andy Murray and the team down there, big shout out. Anyone that's in the AAT world, or even not in the AAT world, anyone that's in the accounting world who wants to attend branch meetings, just reach out to the branch committees. They'll be more than happy to have people involved. Free food, it's a good. Who can say no to free food? But genuinely, Michael's talk down at Leicester on property tax for individuals was, there's no better person to talk about that topic than Michael. Michael's a Sharp tax advisor. He lectures for BPP on the very subject of tax. He's one of the, if not, well, certainly one of the best at what he does. Some other people, without shouting out anybody in particular, Gareth Jones from First Intuition. So someone else that I, as a teacher of this amazing accounting qualification, someone that I look up to. What Gareth has built at First Intuition is nothing short of incredible. 22 centres across the country, and without doubt probably the most successful, if not the biggest as well, distance learning provider. So any time that I can get in a room talking to people like Gareth, I'm always obviously going to take that opportunity. So I think I'll leave it there for today. But what I want to do is ultimately build a community of students, build a podcast community where I can come on, we can talk about anything. Nothing's off the table. We can talk about pains around particular subjects, a particular area of the syllabus for AAT, or we can even cross boundaries into other accounting topics. It's really want this to be driven by the community. That said, there ain't no community right now, but that's the whole point, right? We've got to start somewhere. So yeah, feel free to reach out if there's anything that you want to talk about, anything you want me to talk about, anything you feel should be changing with AAT, so whether there's anything that you'd like to see introduced into the AAT syllabus or taken out, or we can discuss that on future editions of this. So yes, I'm going to leave it there for now. This is the first edition of Debit Credits Done. Catchy that, innit? Yeah. Till next time. See you. Bye.